Welcome to the Northern Powerhouse interview series, where we're unashamedly spreading good news by interviewing Northern businesses and their successes during the pandemic. Subscribe to be notified of new interviews or click the link in the description to take part if you'd like to be interviewed yourself in a future episode.
Good afternoon, welcome to Northern Powerhouses Business Success Stories, and we are joined by Maxine McNutt this afternoon, who is the Director of MT Property Consultancy. So thank you ever so much for joining us, Maxine. We really appreciate your time. So can I just start off by asking you can you introduce yourself to us properly, and can you tell us a little bit more about what it is that you guys do?
Of course I can. Hi, my name's Maxine. I set up my company 4 years ago, October 2017, doing property lettings and property management, which I've been in the industry for, 16 years now. I set up on my own, probably by accident really, but I left a company and I thought, do I want to be out of the industry? And I've had the same telephone number since I was 18, and a lot of my clients had my telephone number. And they rang me and just said, where have you gone, Max? And I said, well, I haven't gone anywhere. So they said, oh, just set up yourself. And I thought, well, should I? No desire to really. So I was in talks with another company that I was going to go and work for, and I ended up setting up myself. But having a bit of a think about it before I did, I thought, what do I want to do? What do I want to take from the companies that I've worked from, and what do I want to do differently? And what I wanted to do differently is, companies are fine when they're smaller, but as they grow, they tend to lose the customer service. And that was the one thing that I'm really passionate about. Yeah. So I've decided to open up a company that I'm doing what's called a 100 Club. And basically I'm capping at 100 managed clients, which allows me to deliver the service that I want to do. It actually allows me to keep doing the job that I want to do rather than just managing people. And I'll probably, I'm up to another couple of members of staff. I set up a company that really specialises in customer service in an industry that I'm very comfortable in working in.
Fantastic. So how has the last year been for you and your team? How's the pandemic affected you and what you do?
Well, when the pandemic started getting talked about, I suppose February 2020, I spoke to a guy that works in the same block as me, and he said, "What do you think to this coronavirus?" And I said, "What do you mean? What do I think to it?" I said, "It's in China." And he said, "Well, I think it's pretty serious." And I'll be honest, I thought it's never going to affect us. Yeah. But rapidly things did start to affect us, and we had quite a lot of move-ins booked in for April, which we had to bring the dates forward 3 times on some of them. So the race against time was lockdown, which I suppose in a way was quite exciting, quite fun. Obviously never realising the impact of why we were doing it. And then once we moved everybody in, I said bye to my colleague at the time and said, right, working from home. And I sat down when I got home and I thought, well, what happens now? And quite a lot of my clients also have holiday lets, which obviously was hugely affected. So I thought, what can I do? So they started ringing me saying, Max, what am I going to do with my holiday let? Everything's dropped off. So I quickly thought to myself, I'm going to help the NHS and the key workers and raise money. So with my holiday let clients that I managed to bring from my clients that have managed ASTs for, I raised over £2,000 for York Hospital. Wow. And we housed doctors that had to come out of the homes to get away from the families, key workers. And it was really rewarding actually to do something that wasn't financially beneficial as much for me, but I felt like I was doing something. So it gave me enthusiasm and excitement, and in something that was very, very dark.
Absolutely. And what sort of challenges did you guys face? I mean, I guess initially there's the uncertainty, you know, and you made decisions really quickly as to how you could utilise your holiday lets and give something back. You know, what sort of challenges did you begin to face?
I guess the challenges were, I mean, the first challenges were when the government announced furlough. I think all the tenants thought they would get 20% off their rent, which was quite challenging. But I thought to myself, right, how am I going to word this to them? And I just said, look, I appreciate you may be on furlough. That 20% that you're not getting is actually disposable income. If you would be kind enough to just go through your bank statements over the last 3 months and just explain to me how much you spend on going out eating, drinking, cinema, travel. And if it's more than 20%, come back to me and I'll talk to the landlord. And nobody rang me back.
Yeah.
And I've been lucky enough that I've gone through the whole pandemic without any rent arrears.
Wow.
Without any rent arrears at all. And it's not from me being harsh, but I'm very selective of the clients that I put in my properties as well as the clients that I take on. And, you know, there was a couple that were self-employed. Obviously, we waited for their grants to come through because they were, you know, paid differently. But no, I've worked, you know, it was challenging at first because, you know, I was thinking, how am I going to overcome this? And, you know, it's my income drops off a cliff as well if they don't pay.
Of course.
So that was quite challenging, but and obviously it was challenging. We were the first industry to come back, so that was scary as well.
Absolutely. So how are the team? So who have you got in your team there, Maxine?
Well, I was working with another lady, and she subsequently left in September. I've now got a girl called Olivia working with me who is full time, helps me with the day-to-day lettings. And I actually got COVID in February, really badly. And I couldn't process my accounts very well. So I've actually taken someone on just this last couple of weeks to do the accounts because I've realised my business needed that when I couldn't do it myself.
So for Olivia, you know, how did things have to adapt for her? Does Olivia take care of things like your viewings and your properties and things? How did that change?
So Olivia started with me the day after the second lockdown was announced. Yes, that was quite challenging. But I mean, she's been absolutely brilliant. She's, you know, we've just worked together on it. She got COVID the same time as I did. So, you know, it was, we had a very tough time in February, but we've just worked together. We've both come in the office. I work in a very small block. There's only 3 of us that have the office space, ground floor, middle floor and top floor, and the top floor haven't been in since February. So we kept coming in, which I think kept us sane.
Yeah.
You know, through what was a really hard time, it kept us going, and you know, business has been really, really good. So you know, we've just not been affected, but we've just kept going, and you know, Olivia's been great, as in, you know, she's just stepped up to the plate of whatever we've had to change and adapt.
Absolutely. So for your clients, for everybody that you're dealing with, how did you guys have to adapt? I guess for them, there must have been so much sort of uncertainty and worry for clients in terms of, will I be able to move in? Will I not be able to move in? How did you guys sort of deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, there was, like I said, the first lockdown we had to move dates forward, you know, 2 or 3 times. It was a race against the clock. But, you know, in terms of doing things, we a lot of everything's online signing now, which, you know, makes our lives much easier. We're still meeting to hand over the keys. So there was a lot of putting keys on walls at the start and, you know, walking away. You know, at the very start, I was emailing a lot of my clients, you know, reassuring them that I'm still very much here, things are very much, you know, going to stay the same. And I was emailing my tenants, because I have tenants that live on their own. So I was saying, you know, if you self-isolate and if you need anything, if you want me to go to the supermarket,
wow,
please let me know, because I'm here, not, you know, I'm here for you. And I did a lot of that, and I think it helped. You know, we became a bit of a family. You know, there was a lot of, you know, if I said to people, if you just want to ring and have a chat, just ring me.
Brilliant. So what kind of positives would you say you guys are able to take from the last year? You know, what wins have you seen?
I would say, I think in terms of wins, you know, not to look at things financially, but I've had a very good year, and it's, you know, it's always very challenging setting up a new business, and for this to happen so early in my business, I would say that from a personal point of view, I probably wouldn't be too worried about anything now that came up that challenged me, because I know that bad times don't last forever, and you've just got to help people along the way, and you know, it's been a good year, which is hard to say when people have lost jobs, have lost businesses, that, you know, and it really is hard to say that, but I think it's not just through luck or through, you know, obviously our industry didn't get shut down, which is hugely impacted our success, but through sheer determination and not giving up.
Brilliant. I mean, are there any adaptations that you guys had to make during lockdown, so where your hand was maybe forced somewhat, and you've had to make adaptations that you'll actually keep hold of sort of in the future or moving forward?
Yeah, I think everything will probably, which is great. It'll streamline the paperwork a lot more, which, you know, which you've been in the industry, it's heavily paperwork, and I think, you know, I don't think that even just narrowing viewings down to a minimum and things, and, you know, just streamlining the business, really. You know, just that it runs more efficiently, and maybe some of those things we wouldn't have done if this hasn't have happened.
Yeah. I think that our hand has almost been forced, hasn't it, in certain regards, and, you know, I hear it a lot that, you know, well, we maybe wouldn't have done this, but we will keep hold of this moving forward. It is more efficient, or this does work better for the team, and yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, it's a bit of a cliche, but I think, you know, you've just got to be kind to everybody's situation and you know, circumstance and mindset. I have been fortunate enough that I have still been able to get up, put a dress on and put my heels on and come into work. Even if that's been sat on my own, I've done it. And I think that's kept me a lot of normality in my life throughout what's been turned upside down for a lot of people. It's a huge part of your identity, isn't it? And to suddenly, not have, I'll be just going and sitting at your kitchen table and having your videos on the bottom so nobody can see on Zoom. I think it does make a difference in the fact you've been able to go into the office and maintain that identity that you have. I can only imagine that must make a big difference. Yeah,
definitely. And, you know, it things got quite frightening in York, I think for a lot of places, but after Christmas, the pandemic was rife here. And, you know, I was, I'll hold my hands up, I was quite scared. I thought, Jesus, there were people that I knew started getting it. And, you know, that we tightened things up again. So I was like, right, no property visits, they're all via Zoom. We'll have to get them to show us around the property or with their phone. I'm not putting I'm not going to put Olivia at risk, and I'm not going to put my tenants at risk. There's no for us to go into the property and do that. We, you know, granted we're not doing a proper property visit, but you know, that was as good as it was going to get for then. And I do think that was the right decision.
Yeah.
And we also started, as soon as the testing became easy accessible, we started getting testing straight away twice a week, which we still do now, 2 or 3 times a week we test.
Brilliant. Brilliant. That must give your tenants and your landlords so much reassurance.
Absolutely, and us, you know, we you know, when we tested and Olivia got the virus first, and I came down with it a couple of days later. I was so glad that we did it, because the following day we were both out on appointments all day, and imagine making all those phone calls to everyone.
Goodness, yeah.
You know, so you're not testing for yourself, you're testing for other people, especially when you're in an industry that there still has to be physical contact. It can't all be over video.
So with hindsight, which is a thing, with everything that you've learned over the last year and everything that you've experienced, if you could go back to last February, knowing what you know now, is there anything you would have done differently or maybe done sooner? Oh,
that's a good question. What would I have done differently? I'm not saying I've done everything right. I just can't think of what I did. What would I do differently? I don't know really. It's I guess we've just got swept along, and I've not really thought what I'd do differently. I don't know.
I guess it's having the time as well to reflect, isn't it? And sit back.
That's it.
Take a breath and think, right, we've made it another year down the line. And we don't always get that time to sit back and reflect and think, you know, we've come a long way. We've overcome a lot of challenges. You know, we've made it on. And
yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, I'm so early in my business that I suppose for somebody that's had an agency for 20 years, it was probably harder for them than it was for me. You know, I set up, the year later the tenant fee ban came in, that was another change. Then we've had like the electric come in during the pandemic and electrical testing, again challenging to try and get electricians in there before the dates that it had to. But you know, I think it's just forward planning and forward thinking, and not thinking how it is for us, thinking how it feels for other people, you know, i.e. our tenants and clients. You know, we want to keep them the right side of legislation, but we also want to look after our tenants. So, you know, if they refuse access, you have to respect that.
Absolutely. So what are you guys looking forward to the most as the wheel starts spinning again and we come out of the other side? What are you looking forward to most?
I think really I'm looking forward to sort of the business networking, not just my industry and my business, but I do a lot of networking, you know, not just organise things, but just how much I've missed, you know, speaking and chatting to people. Yeah, that's it. Just getting out and speaking to people and, you know, and promoting your business without promoting your business, you know, it's, and I'm looking forward to hearing, you know, it's so nice to see like all the bars and restaurants and cafes and everything back open, and I'm looking forward to seeing other people's successes come back. It's just a good, you know, a good feeling about, a positive feeling about everything again, and I think that's probably what I'm looking forward to the most. There's
a real like tight-knit community feel, I think, in York, isn't there, for business owners, and it's everybody kind of knows everybody some way, shape or form, don't they? So I think it's lovely to be able to, you know, to see, like I said, everybody else starting to open up and their world starting to spin again, and to be able to sort of share that with the local community.
Absolutely, and like you say, York, we are just a village, and you know, business, you know, even in the same industry, we all support each other. You know, it's, you know, if you go to the same point, you want the same house, you're obviously against each other. But other than that, you support each other, and you there's enough of the, you know, there's enough share of the pie for it to go around everyone. So it'd be nice to see everybody back up and running and back being successful again.
Definitely. And what exciting things have you guys got planned for the future?
Well, I'm actually launching the 100 Club as a bit of a brand relaunch, so that's coming up in September. I'm doing a new website, so I'm going to update my website. So there's that going on. I'm now working with quite a lot of investors. I've noticed that a lot of people from down south are moving up here and purchasing up here. So I've got a really good client, couple of clients that I'm working with on that side of things. So just watching things, evolve and spin out. But yeah, those are the plans for the company this year.
Fantastic. And my last question for you, Maxine, would be, if you could take sort of one key learning from the last year, sort of for you as a business owner, as a business leader, what do you think is sort of the key learning for you?
I think the key learning is mindset. I think you've got to keep being positive, even when things it doesn't feel like that's how you should feel. Even you can battle with yourself that you should even feel that way when things are in such a bad place. But I think you've got to really work to yourself and always try and take a positive out of a negative, and help people along the way, and that's really what I would say that this last year has meant to me.
Brilliant.
And as a business owner, it's meant to me, and it's made me more determined than ever. Like I say, I think I don't think I'd be scared of any challenge after facing this year. There's been a lot of hours put in, and it's been tough. I'm not saying it's been easy, but it's been successful.
Brilliant. Maxine, thank you so much for chatting with us and for sharing your experiences and your wins and your challenges that you've faced and that you've overcome. It's really, really valuable to us, and we really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're really welcome. No problem at all.
Thank you, Maxine. Speak to
you soon. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for watching. What was your takeaway from today's interview? Please post it in the comments below, and subscribe for all our upcoming videos, or click for the next video here.